The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. Caution. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shay's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shay's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shay's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real.
Hashtag data, not evidence.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everybody. TGIF, as always. I am so excited to be doing part 2 of Wilson Castle tonight with my new, but I consider them good friends, brand new friends, but very good friends, Brian Weaver of GhostNet, GhostQuest.net, and Kelli Donovan. I am so excited that I can't even get their names out right.
It's all good.
Hey,
hi guys.
Hey, I screwed up everybody's name on the last show, and they're all personal friends of mine.
That makes me feel better then.
Yeah. I screwed up Matt's name. I screwed up Jeff's name. I screwed up everybody's name last week because I was so excited. So,
we'll fit right in.
Yeah, obviously, I think you fit right in. I really do.
I don't care what you call me.
Yeah, well, there's a few names I don't want to be called, but other than that,
Some of those names that we picked up at the castle, yikes.
Oh, yeah, and I should be used to those, because I'm called them normally. So, a couple quick shout-outs here. I like to do the first shout-outs of the night. Of course, we have, hello, Matthew. We have Matt in the house, of course. We have Darren. We have Mama Deb. We have Brian. I see you in there.
That's me.
And I do this because I interrupt guests during the night to give shout-outs to people because at the end of the night I have trouble scrolling way back, so I can't always give shout-outs at the end. So whether you're listening now or if you're listening later, thank you. We really appreciate it. So, Brian, let's start with you, because I so want to get into Wilson Castle, but let's start with you. You're an author, everybody makes fun of me, Massachusetts. I can hear my mother in my head saying, it's Arthur.
It's Arthur.
Yeah. Author and blogger of GhostQuest.net.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, so my name is Brian, and I started my website called GhostQuest.net. It's been almost 5 years at this point, And basically what it is I'm working on creating a database of allegedly haunted locations throughout the United States. At this point, I've researched and written about over 5,000 locations. And I'd say I'm probably less than a fifth of the way done. So I have a blog and a YouTube channel and stuff like that. So that's who I am, and that's how I met these guys. And here I am.
Yeah, that was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, thanks.
I
have a reputation at this point for talking too much, I think.
Oh, me too. Man, let me tell you. Me too. They can't shut me up half the time.
Yep, same here.
So, what is your book called? You have one published so far, if I'm...
Right. Yep. Okay. So I just published in June my first book. It's called The Folklore and Haunted Locations Guide, New York. And it lists over 300 haunted locations, urban legends, folklore tales in the state of New York. And I'm hoping to write a book like that for each state eventually. And my next book, The Folklore and Haunted Locations Guide, Massachusetts, should hopefully be coming out in the next month or two. Hoping to have it out before Halloween, but I was also hoping to have a lot more work done on it by now, so we'll see. But there's a few more books coming out soon, and hopefully more blogs and videos and all that stuff as well.
You do great work. I'm not just saying that because you're on the show. You really do
Thank
great
you.
work. And
Thank you. I put a lot into it.
You do.
So.
You can tell. You can really, really tell, and you really care about what you write.
Definitely. Yep. I try and be pretty non-biased when I do my writing. I like to give the information about the history of the location. And I like to try and be as non-biased as possible. I don't really try and present anything as a fact that is not really able to be proved. So I think it's a good balance between skepticism and obviously, you're telling a ghost story. So that's how I feel. Balance.
I introduced myself that night we first met as a skeptical true believer, and that's how I really feel.
Sounds about right for me as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Because scientifically, it's like it has to be possible, but at the same time, I'm a very skeptical person.
Yes.
So.
I'm skeptical of people. I know it makes me sound like an asshole, but it's
not at all.
It is the truth.
It makes you sound like you know what's going on.
Yeah. And I'm so happy your next book's Massachusetts. I'm an original Mass.
Yeah.
I was born in Mass and raised in Mass. So.
I was born in Waltham.
Yep. I was born in Malden.
Walden, okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
My cousin goes to Walden Pond all the time. I don't know if that's the same.
No,
Walden.
Malden, Mass, near Boston.
Oh, Malden.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
See, it's a Mass and New Hampshire accent. I can't even say my full name. I really can't. It's a running joke on the show. I really can't.
My Massachusetts accent only comes out when I'm like really mad and yelling. So.
And when you swear, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
My daughter, who never grew up in Massachusetts, my youngest, Caitlin, she swears, and you would swear to God she grew up in Mass because she sounds like a Massachusetts person.
That's funny.
That's so funny. All right, so are you ready? You want to get into Wilson a little bit?
Sure, yeah.
Because I'm dying because, number one, it's an awesome location. Number two, this was you guys' first investigation.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
It was. When I was in college, I started getting interested in watching ghost hunting TV shows, and I'd gone to a few places, but this is the first time going with you guys. It was awesome because you guys have all the gear and how to use it. And it was a really awesome learning experience to just see how it all works and kind of get inside the mind of an investigator. here's where I'm going to set this up, and here's why, and here's what we're going to look for. And it was really interesting. And thank you guys, you and Matt, again, for inviting us to go along. It was such a great experience.
Definitely. It was like being in an episode of Ghost Hunters.
Oh, it was awesome. And you guys fit in so well. I can't even,
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that. You guys really, really just.
Yeah,
like,
it was like meeting up with old friends. It was really good.
It really
a great time with all of you.
I'm always nervous about meeting new people because it's, people can be weird sometimes, but I felt like we really fit in with you guys, and that was really nice. It was such a good time. I mean, everything about it, from the company and the location and the evidence that we got, it was just such a great night.
It would have been awesome even if nothing had happened. Like, you guys were just so fun to hang out with.
Yeah. And even just looking around the house, I've said this to pretty much everyone I've told about the place. It's like I could just get lost in there for a week and just look at every nook and cranny of that house, because it's all just so historical and interesting. And some of the stuff they have on display there is just so cool.
It really is. So our first question from chat is from Darren, and it kind of goes, before we get into anything else, you started, Brian, to kind of answer it, but I would like both of you. So if Brian, if you want to finish yours before Kelly answers, what got you into the paranormal?
Okay. So, all right. So, as I said, I'm kind of a skeptic. But what got me into making my website, which where I write, I've started writing and researching about these places. And really what started interesting me about all of this is that, like I said, in my late teens, you see those TV shows, and sometimes they'd go to places that were like near me or in, a place that I've been. And so that got me curious. So I started reading a lot online about, allegedly haunted places near me in my home state of New Hampshire. And just hearing about some of the locations there, it was so interesting to me, because it was like, you hear these little tidbits of history that happened in your area, and then it's like, well, there's a ghost story attached to it. And it was just so interesting. And unfortunately, there weren't really a lot of websites that were kind of dedicated to that type of material. So I felt like it was kind of a niche that needed to be filled in the community. So that's what made me start my website. Kind of a combination of interest in the subject and, not having... I wanted to read more, but there wasn't. So.
Right. How about you, Kelly?
Well, I grew up in I'll use the word allegedly here, allegedly haunted apartment complex.
That's my word. You can't use it.
From a very young age, I remember just experiencing very, odd things that had no logical explanation. Windows and doors would open by themselves with no breeze. I'd go to sleep with my window open and I'd wake up with it closed. And these were pretty old windows. They were stiff. They didn't just slam down by themselves. And anyone who lived in that apartment complex had something to say. They had some experience they couldn't explain. And so it fascinated me, because it's like, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? Like, is this ghost? Is there an explanation? Like, what's going on? Because like Brian said, it's hard finding things on the internet. I tried to research the property to see if there'd been any sort of like mass casualty, any disaster, any fire, because it was evidently a resort before it got turned into an apartment complex. But I found nothing. So it's just sparked this fascination. Like, what is this? And spooky shit would happen in that apartment. There were times when it was actually terrifying to live there, depending on the time of year, because we noticed there was a pattern with the activity. Like in the fall and the spring, it would kick up, and you'd almost hate to be in the house alone. And it was fascinating to me. Like, even when I was scared, I was like, what the hell is this?
Right?
Like, what's going on?
Adrenaline.
Yes, exactly. It was like an adrenaline rush.
Yep.
And like being at Wilson Castle was very reminiscent of just sitting in my own room with like, you know, an old like track phone voice recorder going, trying to catch an EVP and or like find pictures. And it's just, it's fun. It's fascinating. You know, it's a science we have no words for yet. And I really hope in my lifetime, I doubt it, but I hope in my lifetime they come up with something. You know, they find something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Darren has a question about equipment that I'll get to in a minute. But I want to ask you guys, as first time going into this first time like real investigation, what were your hopes? What were you thinking was going to happen? And did it differ from what happened?
I'll go first. I didn't expect anything to happen. Personally, I was just hoping to go and have a good time. I really like history, and I really liked looking around the building. And if that had been it and nothing had happened, I'd have still been had a great time.
It's awesome just to walk in there. That made my day. To walk in there.
Yeah, it's like walking into a different world. It's like the smell hits you, and the smell reminded me of the church that I used to go to when I was a kid.
You said
like
that,
yeah, like the smell of old wood and iron and just old house. And it just had it. You could feel the energy immediately upon walking in there. And it was really cool. But that being said, we did have a lot of really weird experiences that I am leaving open-ended. Yeah.
And I even said to you guys, this is not normal.
Yeah.
Remember, I said, this is not how a normal investigation goes. Normally, you're sitting in the dark for 8 hours and nothing happens. You have 5 minutes or 2 minutes, something happened. But this was like constant, almost constant.
It was like all night something was happening somewhere. It was unbelievable to me because I mean, like
for me too, and I've been doing this for over 5 years.
Yeah. And one, I forget who it was in our group that said this, but I know 4 or 5 of the 9 people in our group that were investigating identified as being empaths or psychic in some way. And it makes you wonder if that has anything to do with the activity, like, you know, maybe they were feeding off of our energy or something.
I know Jeff considers himself a psychic medium, and Carrie considers herself an empath. I'm not sure about Barbara, but I don't think Matt, me, or Nicole consider ourselves any of those. But at least 2 of them, maybe 3. So, but even you can have a room full of psychics, and that amount of activity we got was more than. Your next investigation, you're going to be so let down. You really are.
I don't know, though. I mean, I don't think I would have been let down if nothing happened. I think it was just such a cool experience either way. Yeah. Even if you don't believe in ghosts, I mean, just go for the history. Go to just soak up the vibes and, you know, feel the energy. It's crazy.
How about you, Kelly? What were you expecting compared to what you got?
Honestly, I just driving up to that house and like getting the full force for the first time, I had a feeling. I was like, something's gonna happen. I mean, that house felt alive to me. I was like, there's no way nothing's gonna happen, and I was not disappointed. I wasn't. I mean, I can't call myself a skeptic. I throw myself wantedly into believing this stuff. Maybe that's not healthy, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's healthy as long as you can throw out the crap.
Yeah, I mean, I look for logical explanations. Yeah. For instance, one thing that kept happening to me the whole night was I kept feeling little brushes on my arms and my neck, and I'd be like, okay, was it a cobweb? Was it my hair? And I tried to recreate it. And then it happened when I was standing in the middle of a room alone, not moving. I'm like, nope, that's something weird. That's not cobwebs. That's not something brushing me. That's not my hair. And it's just, I just had a feeling. I was like, even if it's just one thing, something's going to happen that's going to make me go, yep, there it is.
Well, you weren't the only one touched that night. Remember that experiment we did when we broke up into two groups? And I was sitting on the bed and I just looked over and I said, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but something's messing with my hair. Like, it was parting my hair. And that was bad enough. And I'm like, this is so weird. But then after the experiment was done and Barbara came outside, she's like, I was sitting on that bed and something was playing with my hair. And I was like, whoa, she had no idea it had happened to me.
It was such a good experiment.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was definitely cool to see, because we did, both groups experienced pretty much the same activity in the same rooms.
Yeah, and both is on video. Both.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. That was so cool how that happened.
We have some more experiments lined up for tomorrow night because we are going back to. Unfortunately, you guys can't come.
No, I'm working.
But we have some more experiments lined up, some harder experiments.
Ooh.
So,
can you tell us what they are? Or is it a secret?
We're going to use flashcards with the Estes method.
Okay.
Snap.
And maybe without it, but at least we're going to do it with it, so the person, there's no way the person can hear what we're saying if we're holding up a flashcard, because they have the earbuds.
Like Zener cards or something else?
No, I made them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
They're going to be
cool.
picture cards. Simple things. Apple.
Okay. Yeah.
Red. Stupid, simple stuff.
Good idea.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea.
In case anybody from the 1887, I think is when the house is built. In case they can't read, because who knows back then.
Right, true.
Or who knows if they can read at all now, even if they could read then. So we're going to try it.
That's so neat.
Okay,
can't wait to hear what happens.
Yeah,
I definitely would love to hear about it when you guys do that.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. I'm trying to read the chat, but as everybody knows, I broke my glasses a couple weeks ago, so I'm having trouble.
That sucks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do without my glasses.
Same.
It's been so long now, I'm starting to get used to it, so I'm doing better.
Yeah.
All right, Darren has another question, which is really good. We can start off with this. What was your favorite piece of equipment from that night or experiment? Either one.
Okay, so I'm not like a paranormal investigator. This is pretty much my first time. I gotta say, my favorite piece of gear that we used was the spirit box. I think Matt had an SB7. No, somebody had an SB7. Matt
Nicole
had a
has an SB7. Matt will put it in chat if we give him like 20 seconds. He has that boom box, spirit box.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the boom box. That was a cool one. But I'd always been curious about those and, the concept behind it where, it switches channel frequencies and it's always been an interesting concept to me. And I was always curious about just to see it in action myself.
Yep.
And when we were doing some of our questioning sessions, the responses that we got back from the spirit box, to me, we got a lot of inappropriate swear words and things.
Yeah, a couple times you really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was hard for me to imagine that being broadcast on a radio. Like, it wasn't part of the song.
Didn't they say the CUN?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
That's not going to be. Yeah, that's not going to be on the radio.
Right, and I'm trying to imagine like a DJ saying that because, like, obviously, if that were part of a song, it would be bleeped out. And if a radio DJ were saying that many times, He'd probably lose his job. So it was interesting to see some of the responses that came through, especially some of the vulgar ones that in my head, I was like, there's no way that this is, the river coming through. Like,
Oh, sorry. I was muted. I forgot.
Oh.
I was coughing and I forgot to unmute it. Or I thought I was going to cough and there was quite a few words that there's no way a radio could say because the FCC would be down on them.
Right.
I just want to give a big shout out to Cynthia who has joined us in chat. Hey, girl, I love you. Hugs and kisses.
Hi.
And I, the Beholder, came in a little while ago. And I'm sure I'm missing people, and everybody knows I don't mean to. It's not on purpose. So, Kelly, what was yours? Because that was Brian's, and you agreed with them, but did you have a different...
Yeah. I have to agree. I thought the spirit box was really neat. Maybe even, like, not necessarily just the spirit box, but what was the name of that app he had on his phone? The Necro something?
We were using Necrophonics.
Necrophonics. Yes. I thought that was really cool, because I'd never seen a phone app before that didn't access your microphone.
It doesn't. And I told you guys a story. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's fine. That's kind of what I do. Nicole and I started using Necrophonics and Spiritus. They're both. Necrophonics is easier to use. But we we're like, because people kept telling us, Cynthia, who's in chat, Kelly, and a few other people kept saying, no, you gotta try it. And we're like, apps, fuck you, they suck.
Yeah, that's always been my thoughts.
So we're
as well.
we're gonna use these, and we're gonna prove these people wrong. Even though they're, some of our closest friends, we're like, we're going to prove you wrong. And we got some personal crap over those the first time we used it. And you don't have permission to for the microphone or anything like that. It's not a word bank. It's phonetic sounds only.
Yeah, that's what is so interesting is that it uses phonetics. Yeah. Because, as a computer programmer, I went to college for computer programming. I know how easy it would be to make a program that used certain words and stuff like that. And that's how I always assumed that those apps work. So when I found out that it was based on a phonetic sound bank, that completely changed my thoughts on how legitimate that app was. If that's actually true. I believe that it is, because I think somebody would have gone through the code by now and been like, nah, that's not true. So, as of right now, the Necrophonics app, I was very impressed with.
I'll say it on my show for the first time, I think, ever. The first time we used it, somebody we know came through and told me what piece of furniture I was conceived on. And it was not a bed. Gross. It was clear as day.
Yeah. Weird.
That's so wild.
So you get something like that, and you're like, wait a minute, what is going on?
Reminds me to download it and take it to work with me.
Yeah.
Ooh, you should,
I work in a very haunted nursing home.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
But yeah, I agree. There's something about hearing them communicate. Seeing them, that is cool. Seeing stuff move. But it's something about hearing their voice. It's almost like solidifies them as like.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a person, or this was a person. It makes the connection stronger, rather than, this is interesting phenomenon. This isn't just phenomenon. This was a human. Yeah,
it's like actually a communication. And it's interesting that it's able to... Yeah, and it's interesting that it happens in real time as well. Like with an EVP, you record it and you go back and you listen to it later. But these responses that come through are they're immediate, which is interesting.
Very, I think. So
it definitely allows for better communication between yourself and the spirit, because it's you don't have to go back and listen. And if they said something, it's more like having a conversation than just whereas like an EVP is more like sending a letter in the mail, you get the response, but like
exactly, yeah, it's real time.
Yeah,
not the EVP. Everything, the spirit box is real time. You hear it instantly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah. I just have to say this, Darren. I did see your comments in there. No, I will not say it. Yes, the show is explicit, but I do not like the word, so I won't say it. But thank you for asking.
We didn't like the words either. I feel like as soon as that all started coming through, people started getting kind of uncomfortable. Because it was like, it sounded very angry. And it was so unexpected too. Like, they don't show that on Ghost Adventures. They don't show them saying like the most vulgar words you can think of. Right? So that took me off guard quite a bit.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected.
One time at an asylum, my sister Kelli and I, something came over and it called me. I was bending over because I have a back injury, so I was like stretching, and it came over. It said "slut," and I said, "Hey," did you just call me a slut? And it said, "No, sexy."
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, there's no way a radio station will say this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think it picks up satellite radio, so that's...
Yeah.
Even so, you have satellite radio in your car.
They'll say anything on satellite. That's why it's painful.
No, it's not satellite for sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it would be.
All right, let's see. We have another question in chat. What is your do you have any paranormal fears?
Sorry, what?
What scares you the most about the paranormal? Do you have any
fears.
like fears or phobias?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm kind of a skeptic, so maybe I have less fear than I should. My biggest fear about going on an investigation is going into a place that has like asbestos or something like that. Like I'm going to get sick from going in there. As far as like paranormal stuff, I mean, there's always that fear that, you know, if a ghost could, attach itself to you or something like that, like it's cool to be able to experience this when I want, but what if I could never get rid of it? What if, it haunted me forever? That's kind of a scary thing. Or like, I guess being cursed. Like, I know one guy who does a different podcast that took a brick from Dracula's castle. And
that was his first mistake.
Yeah.
Yep, I agreed.
I know somebody else that took a brick from a castle.
Yeah, ever since he's had very bad luck. He was in a car accident and almost died, just all this stuff. But, something like that, just like that you can't control and that you can't fight back against, like that's always been a fear of mine. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm not really afraid of people. Like, I mean, if someone wanted to try and come fight me, I'd be like, whatever. But it's like, if a ghost decided to try and hurt me, like, what could I really do to defend myself?
See, I'm the opposite. I'm more afraid of animals and people than I am of paranormal.
Right. Well, yes, I agree with that.
I really
But it's like... Yeah, no, I definitely, I agree with that. But it's like, what I'm saying is, if I had to choose between fighting one, it's like, how would you fight against ghosts?
At least the person eventually has to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
How about you, Kelli? Do you have a paranormal fear?
Poltergeists. They scare the crap out of me.
Do you mean poltergeist activity or poltergeist? Two different things.
Well, I mean, with the poltergeist, you'd have poltergeist activity. I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. Well, I don't know.
Well, poltergeist activity is the telekinesis form of it. So
yeah, okay, more so the activity, because it's with a ghost, they can sometimes, like they can like knock something over or like turn a light on and off. But with a poltergeist, I mean, I've heard some wild stories. I've read a lot of, like that one in Scotland. I think there's a cemetery that's so dangerous you can't even go in there anymore because it's actually injured people. Like, you can't see it, but it can move stuff. It can certainly hurt you more so than a regular ghost. And no one's even sure if it's a human spirit. We don't really know a lot about poltergeists. There's a lot of theories, but it's frightening. They could pick up a whole piece of furniture and huck it at you, and you can't do anything. You can't see it. You can't stop it.
Yeah, but that's the same as any ghost.
Yeah. I mean, I've never encountered a ghost that was strong enough to move something like that. I've only ever heard about that kind of extreme activity in regards to.
I don't know, because I don't think we did. We did not discover. Blah blah blah. Start over. That was me rewinding. We did not. We did not encounter any poltergeists. But let me tell you, I felt something move my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I gotcha.
So.
And you can't, like, they do touch. I don't know, just all the accounts I've read of poltergeist activity versus the accounts I've read of haunting, one seems more extreme, in my opinion.
Poltergeists seem like they kind of enjoy messing with people more than a regular ghost.
Again, there's two different forms of poltergeist, so it depends on which one you're talking about. The actual definition of a poltergeist is just a noisy ghost.
A noisy ghost.
Right.
Yeah. Poltergeist activity is actually telekinesis, and somebody's emotions are setting it off, which makes the shit go haywire. So I get what you're saying. I just
no, I appreciate like more information, because I don't know much about it, and you're clearly you're the expert.
No, no.
Well, more so than I am. I'm not very
That's
well
why it's called Shay's Shit Show. I am not an expert. I learn a little bit more every time I do a show.
That's what's fun, though. It's like being part of the paranormal. It's like you're always learning something. There's always a new theory, and like whenever a new scientific discovery comes about, sometimes it's relevant and it can be applied. It's cool.
And every time I think I have my mind made up about something happens or somebody comes along and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I just changed my mind. I have no problem changing my mind, because none of this, we have no proof of any of this. We're all learning, all of us. So.
Yep. Yeah, and that's important, is like, I feel like some people that get into the paranormal, they look for evidence to back up what they already believe.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
Yeah, you really have to have a healthy mix of skepticism and open-mindedness. So
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. All right. Here's a question for you, and you can pass if you want.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Darren, the question
master. One of these questions.
How do you feel about pregnant women going on investigations and the chance of women or the baby getting possessed? Let me tell you, I've passed on this question every time he's asked me. So.
It's not the first time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
do you think the fetus can get possessed? Is that?
Well, that's a tough question. And first off, I'll just say, I see a lot of people do a lot of things that I don't agree with and that I wouldn't do, but I try and not be super judgy at the end of the day. As for whether the unborn child could be possessed, I have a hard time imagining that, but I do think that something could happen, like something to compromise the baby, for example. Like
enough stress on the woman could compromise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like if the ghost a lot of people will have like an anxiety attack or like, something like when we were all in the servants' quarters at Wilson Castle and Barbara felt like she had vertigo and she felt like she was having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
Three.
Yeah.
Massive panic attack in that room.
I think 3 people had to leave the room.
Yeah, Kelly, Barb, and one person from your group as well. I think it was
Matt was.
Yeah.
Matt and Carrie? Was Carrie in our group?
So
Yeah,
2 people from
Barb
each group.
wasn't in our group. She was in the other one, so I meant ours.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, Barb had it the worst in our group. But I'm imagining,
you weren't in our group.
No, me and Kelly, Jeff, and Barb
Yes.
went in a separate group.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Question about shamanism. That's one I would like to answer later. But let me finish this question. Yeah. So, I definitely do think it's possible because, like, even without a ghost, being exposed to like extreme stress and stuff like that, it can have an effect on the baby. So I do think it's possible. And I think that if anyone is pregnant and wants to go investigating, use good judgment and be careful and maybe do a cleanse when you come out.
Yeah. But who are we to tell her not to? That's my whole thing.
Right.
That's why I have problems with the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like I like to let people do what they're going to do, but if I perceive it as being dangerous, I'll definitely advise them to be cautious.
And Matt said in our group it was Carrie, Dawn, and Matt. So, and if you see a question you want to answer, go ahead and ask it, because my lovely co-host Kelly McCarville could not be on tonight, so I'm by myself. I'm used to having help, so I'm missing a lot in chat.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm curious what Kelly thinks though about the last question.
I mean, kind of agree with you, Brian. I feel like it's up to the discretion of the person in general. They know themselves well enough to know how they react under, certain stressors, how they react in an investigation. They probably know the history of the location they're going to. I don't typically like to police what people do or feel like it's my place to, whether I agree with it personally or not. But
yeah, do we have the right to do that?
I feel like it's, I feel like we should trust people to know what is and isn't safe for them, and it's their pregnancy, it's their baby, it's their body. You don't have to lock yourself in a cupboard when you're pregnant anymore like you did in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So I don't have a long answer for it.
No, I agree with you, though.
Brian,
that's longer than my answer, because I always say, I'm not pregnant, and that I have no right to say otherwise.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
I personally am never going to be pregnant, so I can't really tell pregnant people what they should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, that's kind of, because I don't know. All right, let's answer the shaman one. Mr. Darren Buss. And Darren, I'm sorry I didn't call you. I should have. Thank you for the offer. But he wants to know, what are your views on shamans and what they bring to an investigation?
So, I don't really know. Well, I've never been on an investigation with a shaman that I know of, unless one of you guys was and didn't tell me.
Nope.
But I do think that there's a very strong connection between the spirit world and shamanism. Trying to think of how to say this without saying too much, but in my experimentation days with, psychedelic drugs, I definitely felt that there's a connection, I think, to the third eye and to psychedelics, like mushrooms and the other substances that shamans would use, like peyote, for example, and there's different cultures have different types of shamans. Like, Native American shamans are going to be different than shamans in South America and Peru, and there's different rituals and all that. But I think that it definitely it connects you. It forces you to have that connection that maybe psychic people have all the time. But I think certain substances, in my opinion, can definitely really help you tap into that frequency. Like, for example, DMT, which is dimethyltryptamine. It's a substance that the human brain produces naturally. It allows you, it's what controls your perception of color. It's what makes you dream at night. And that's also the main chemical in peyote and like other psychedelic drugs that are used for shaman purposes. So in my opinion, there is a link. There definitely, I don't have the science myself to say what it is, but I definitely think there is. So
see, I have the shamans I've interviewed and know Coyote Chris Sutton, who I love to death. He's one of them, but all the ones that I've interviewed on air don't, including Chris, do not do hallucinogens. Like Chris Sutton does drums to get into that.
Yes, right.
Almost like binaural.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, if you're doing hallucinogens, how can you tell what's real and what's not? And I don't mean that as disrespectful. That's a real question.
I mean, to me, it's usually obvious. I think it probably depends on the person and what they're doing and stuff like that. For me, it's like I've never had an experience where I've like tripped out. I've
never done hard drugs. I don't know. I've never done. I'm not a drug person. I'm not judging anybody that has. But I've never tripped. I've never done a mushroom. I've never done acid. I've never done any of that stuff. I've never done cocaine. The only thing I've ever done is marijuana.
Right.
So other than that, I'm out. So I have no idea what it does to the psyche. I have no idea what it does.
I think, and it's possible that my experiences have been different because, a lot of people that I do know who have done those types of things, it was always like a recreational thing for them. Maybe it's different for different people, but to me, it's like, I mean, like I've never heard things that weren't there or seen things, but it to me it pulled me into a Zen zone where I just felt really connected with everything, and to feel the vibrations differently. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I definitely think there's a connection. And I didn't realize that you mostly meant because there are different shaman methods.
I didn't mean any. That's what he was asking. But most shamans, not most, but a lot of shamans do that. So no. So I totally knew where you were coming from. I just haven't had the opportunity to interview those ones.
Right.
Excuse me. Sorry. Matt wants to know how many clowns can you fit in a Prius?
Oh my god.
What?
I don't think that was a question for us, but it was funny enough to read on air.
I think you need 3 Priuses per clown. I think that's how it works.
Oh, there we go. Sounds good. Kelly, did you have an answer for that, or are you?
I've been trying to think of.
If not, you don't have to. It's up to you.
I mean, I've never personally met anybody that is a shaman, but I imagine if you brought someone with that kind of connection with you doing an investigation, I think it's bound to bring about some kind of reaction or event, because they are so
connected.
These people are so connected, so in tune. Yes. And when you meet people like this, I've never met a shaman, but I've met people who've had a very strong psychic presence, and they almost act, it's almost like a static cling between them and any activity in the vicinity. They just, it's drawn to them. They're almost like, it's almost like there's a big, like, you know, like it's a big blackness in this, you know, the shaman or whoever comes along, and they're just burning light in the darkness. Something's
like
bound
a beacon,
to be attracted.
like a beacon.
Yes,
they're like
and I mean, like,
blinky,
I'm not
blinky.
A shaman. Yeah, I'm not a shaman, but I've had a lot of. It's almost like, for instance, people who have that kind of energy, they just attract paranormal activity.
Yeah.
I'm not a shaman. I don't even know if I'm a psychic, but me and my older sister have had a history of just weird stuff happens around us. We went and visited my mother out in this brand new house that was the only person that had lived in it before was an old lady that moved. Nothing had happened until we moved there. And then out of nowhere, stuff would turn on and off. They'd hear voices and noises. And I feel like if someone who's dedicated their time and their life and their energy to being connected with that kind of activity, I think it's bound to get a reaction.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to add about shamanism, and you guys were talking about like the drumming and stuff like that. It's like, if you've ever seen or used those like bowls that you like put a wooden thing around.
Singing bowls.
Singing bowls. Yep. And in my opinion, it has to do with frequency, and like, if that puts your mind on that frequency, then I think that could really open people who aren't usually like psychically aware. It could like put them on that frequency where they're more so psychic than they were before. I think there's definitely some science to it that we don't understand. But I do think that, shamanism is, it's a valid, I think it's valid, in the new age, that we're in today with the technology and everything. So
different things work for different shamans. Some might take hallucinogens.
Right.
Some might do the singing bowls. Some might, do drums like, my friend Chris that I was talking about. But it all has to do with what gets them in that frequency. It's almost like a meditative state, almost.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, I'm not a shaman, so it's hard for me to speak of. I'm just going by the interviews I've done.
And if you read about the spirit quest that they used to do, like Native Americans used to do way back in the day, one of the things that forces your brain to start dumping DMT into your body, DMT being known as a spirit molecule, is putting it under extreme duress. Like these, boys that would go out in the woods, they wouldn't eat, they wouldn't drink, they'd be exposed to the elements. And when your body is suffering like that, it counteracts it by dumping DMT into your system. And they'd have their like visions, they'd have their spirit quest, and they'd go back and, they'd be named a man. So, I mean, you don't, like not necessarily there's something wrong with using hallucinogenics, but you don't necessarily need anything like that to get into that state, because you can use sound, you can use your environment, you can use, anything. It's wild how you can, almost manipulate your brain into getting into that state.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's another reason I do believe that DMT, which is the spirit molecule, is what it was called. I do think there's definitely a connection between the spirit and that molecule, because one of the things is that when you die, your brain releases a massive dose of that into you. So like that's why. And some of the side effects of DMT as a drug are you have out-of-body experiences, you'll have flashbacks to earlier points in your life, which is when people have a near-death experience, that those are the things that they claim to have happened to them. So in my opinion, there's definitely a connection, and I think they started studying it more in maybe sometime between 2005 and 10, they started doing a little research into it. So,
yep.
Hopefully, we'll have answers.
So our hour is just about up. Are you guys in a hurry?
Yeah. Huh?
No?
No.
I don't have anywhere else to be.
All right. So we're going to take a very quick break here then.
Okay.
Like a 2-minute break, and
Sure.
then we will be back because we have tons of questions in the chat I haven't got to. But,
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I thought I was going to have a co-host tonight, and I don't, so I have something I have to do really quick. So I'm going to mute everything. And
Okay.
guys in the chat, give us a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shay's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shay's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shay's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real.
Hashtag data, not evidence.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
And we're back. I'm not sure if our guests are with us or not, but I am here.
I'm here.
Hey, Brian. Thank you.
Hey.
Oh, Kelly's here too. Yay.
I'm here.
Yay. Thank you, Cynthia. Love you, girl. Good night. So we have a few more questions that I really wanted to get to, which is why I did the little break there. But this one, if you can say yes, no, or pass. Amityville, real? Yes, no, or pass?
That's going to be more than a one-word answer.
Wait,
for me.
that's good too. That's good. I just didn't want to put any pressure on you.
I'm really not sure. It's so with the Amityville horror house, it was just after the movie was made, supposedly no other residents that lived there
in what,
ever
30
experienced.
years?
Yeah, no one ever experienced anything. To me, it seems like a hoax because the fact that it was so sensationalized so quickly and to me, it does seem like a hoax, but like I try and be open-minded because, you know, I've never been there, so I don't know. But it definitely seems probable that it was a hoax, yeah.
Kelly?
I think if there was any activity, it was possibly generated by the family. Not necessarily that they faked it, but that I'm of the firm belief that energy attracts energy. I think you can attract negative entities. I think you can create negative activity. Whatever was there because of the family.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I've thought about as well. That seems possible.
I'm a firm believer in, I wasn't there. I didn't witness it. So my opinion doesn't matter.
Right.
Like I can make all the
That's
judgment.
how I feel.
Yeah, I can sit here and be a armchair quarterback. What do they call that?
Yeah,
That's
a psychologist.
Yeah, but I wasn't there, and I have issues with stuff that if I didn't witness it or didn't experience, then I question it.
That's exactly
Makes
how
sense.
I do.
All right, this will probably be the last hard question, unless Darren throws some more doozies in there.
Oh,
I gotta find it. Sorry.
Okay.
What are your views on the Warrens?
I love the Warrens. I think they're really pioneers in the field. I'm guessing they left it open-ended for a reason. The only real issue that I have with the Warrens, and I'm not even saying it's an issue, is that they're very kind of theatrical about their ghost hunting, and they're also very Christian or Catholic about it, which is to each their own. But it just They I don't know. I think that they're great and they did great everything. That's the only thing that always was a little irritating to me, but I mean, I say that, but I don't actually find them irritating or anything.
I hear what you're saying. I do.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic and I was not offended by your comment, so.
I was raised Catholic and I have nothing against the religion, so but it's just they put everything in that context where to me
that was their protection. That's how they fought it.
Right.
So that's
true.
That's what their intent was. That's how they. Some people see white bubbles around them. Some people believe in God. Some people. So.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And actually, I didn't really even think of it like that. But I think that's true as well.
I think I'm not sure if this is maybe a different aspect of what you're trying to say, and it's not necessarily anything wrong with using your Catholicism to protect you, but it sort of narrows the scope of the work a little bit because the paranormal activity is such a broad thing. It crosses different cultures, different beliefs. And I mean, you can only see things through your own perspective, but I feel like it's to put everything in a religious context, maybe you're losing out a little bit on other aspects of it. Not that there's anything wrong. That's how you do that's how they did their thing. And I have no issue with it, but I feel like,
no, I get
that. It's a little bit more, if to put things in more of a scientific perspective might be a little bit, I mean, you might get a bit more. I
agree and disagree in the same in the same second because if you're a very religious person, which I am not, I am Catholic, but I'm not that Catholic. I can separate it, but if that's your belief system, then how do you separate it?
Well, you can't. I mean, and it's not necessarily a flaw. It's just I feel like.
I agree. I'm just now you're making
different.
You guys are making me think of questions that I've never thought of. So
sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
No, I mean, I myself am not religious, so I mean, I don't see things from that perspective. Everybody's got their own perspective, and it's there's nothing wrong with seeing it that way.
See, I grew up
It's not
Catholic.
a bad thing.
I grew up Catholic, but I'm not a very religious person, so I see both sides of it. But if that's what's protecting them, and they're doing a lot of high-profile cases,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, they were very successful in their work. So, I mean, I have no critique of anything they do.
If you believed in a sunflower and that was your protection, I wouldn't...
Yeah. I mean, you got to operate with your worldview.
But I get what Kelly's saying on the scientific part. If they're only focusing on one side, the religious aspect of it, then is there room for the scientific side?
And I mean, you gotta, and it's quite true for the opposite. Like you have to include some for spirituality in your scientific research, because spirit, like ghosts, it's very much an anthropological, sociological thing. Like it's going to be, about what that ghost believed in life is going to affect how they behave in death.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. See, mine, you ask one question, it leads to 6 more.
Yeah.
That's how it goes in the paranormal, though, I guess. And I just want to say this real quick. I feel like the way that I answered that question made me seem like I was being critical of the Warrens.
No.
They're some of my heroes, so I just want to clarify that I personally have nothing against them at all. I think
and I hope I didn't make
I'd have loved to meet
way.
them. So.
No. Your answer was both. It was good on both sides. It was like, they're my heroes, but they were too religious, so.
Yeah. Not even they were too religious. It's just that's, just something.
Have you listened to some podcasts? I do this all the time. And listen to some shows I've been on, and, like, I'll listen the next day, or somebody will say, you said this. I never listen. That was a lie. But somebody will say, you answered this way. And what? That's not how I feel. What the hell was I thinking? So
yeah, I feel like I answered the question, but I didn't really say what I meant to say. So
go ahead. If you want to try to reword, you can.
No, it's just.
I thought it was a good answer. I got it.
Yeah. No, it's just the way the question was phrased. That's why I answered it like that.
It's the good old Darren. All right, I have 1, 2, 3. I have at least 4 more questions written down. That's not even counting what I missed in chat.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to get this done as quick as possible.
Okay.
I don't want to keep you guys too long.
Yeah.
But what are your views on haunted objects? Do you think objects can be haunted?
Yeah, I definitely do think that that's possible for a number of reasons. One, it's like, the stone tape theory, energy can become attached to objects. I think, heightened energy like trauma or anything like that. But also, I think, if you love something enough in life, you can become attached to it, like you see with wedding rings and stuff that was important to people. I definitely think that those objects can carry energy, or if there's enough of an attachment that maybe the ghost attached to that object could manifest near it or around it or something like that, if it was like a part of them, I guess.
I mean,
go ahead. Go ahead, Kelly.
Is it like that dress and that morning dress in Wilson Castle?
Yeah.
I mean, that was
good example.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible, because I mean, objects are like they're part of everyday life, and like you said, you become attached to them, like they carry an emotional energy, and whatever you think a ghost might be, like whether it's someone's spirit or whether it's just like an imprint, like that lasts, that stays there long after that person's gone. I mean, all like the haunting itself could just be like that person, like, that person, you imprint your energy on that object. Maybe it's just that energy being vibed back out. Maybe it's the spirit, but I think it's possible.
So do you think, Kelly?
Yes.
We're going to go with you first. So do you think, it's kind of a couple part question here, but do you think a spirit is imprinting on that? Do you think a spirit is just attached to it because it loves it so much, so it's surrounding it, so it seems like it? Or do you think the object can actually be taken over by a spirit?
That's a very good question. I mean, It depends on, I guess, what your theory of what a ghost is in of itself.
Good answer.
If we're talking about an actual human spirit, then yeah, I think they become so attached to that object in their life that in their death, it's almost like they become locked to it. Like it's just, no, it anchors them, if you would, into our plane. But if you think a ghost is merely an imprint of energy, then I think that object acts like a recorder, or like almost like a battery.
Almost like residual.
It all depends on what you think a ghost is. I'm firmly 50-50 on whether or not it's a spirit or whether or not it's energy, because I believe in both. But I definitely, it's a good question. I can't really, it depends on what you think a ghost is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be any of those, and I think probably
I think it could be all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it depends on the situation, like in the same way that a house can be haunted by a residual haunting. Yeah. I think objects can have a similar, mechanic where it could be that the ghost is attached to it and is sentient, and they come back for a reason because they want to see that object or whatever. But then again, if it's something like that's the shirt that they wore when they died, and it's like a residual kind of energy, I think it could go either way, or multiple ways for the same objects. Like you'll have the same ghost appear intelligently, but then you'll also have residual hauntings.
I agree.
Of the same ghost.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I do agree with that.
Very good point.
I agree with both of you, but I like that. Hi, Ma. My mother's here somewhere in the house. I don't know.
Hi, Shay's mom.
She just texted me, I'm here. I don't know where, but she's here somewhere. So, do you guys... this one can go on, and feel free to say yes or no or answer in depth, because I'm trying not to keep you guys too long, but I want to get to some of these questions because you guys' answers are awesome.
Yeah, go as long as you guys want. I mean, if you gotta wrap up, go for it.
No, we get a little bit longer. I just don't. I tell my guests an hour or so, and it's been an hour or so. So if you guys need to go, past lives.
However long.
What are your past lives? See, Mama Deb says hi. She's in chat
Hi, Mama
too.
Deb.
Hi.
What are your views on past lives? Do you believe in them?
Yes.
Oh, that's a quick yes.
I think so. I think I do, because if you believe in the soul, it's like, if there's only one incarnation, it's like, what's the point, really? What happens? Like,
and energy doesn't die.
Right.
So it can't be created or destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that past lives are a thing, especially because of those stories you hear of like a kid.
Oh my God. See?
Yeah,
oh my
that
God.
comes back.
That's
and
what
remembers.
I always say. Go back and listen to my other shows, and that's what I always bring up. Like the little kid describing World War II or Korea.
Yes,
like,
the pilot. Right.
He's like 6, and he's like talking about World War II. Like, you don't even
the
know
names of people.
In the towns, and yes, amen.
Yeah, even if it's not like a reincarnation thing, then you have to wonder
what part of his brain is working that ours isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right, or like if there's some type of I think it's called universal subconscious, where there's like, there's just things that we know and can tap into kind of on a spiritual level. It could be that, it could be past lives, but I definitely think there's something bigger orchestrating all of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I do, yeah. I agree. All right.
There's a theory that since we're made of stardust, we can almost, like, we contain the components of the universe, and we can almost tap into it like a Wi-Fi connection. I'm not sure how much science is behind that.
I'll have to look into that.
So,
yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you think about it.
That wasn't a bad thing, Kelly. I was just saying I've never heard that. So now I have to look into it.
It's fascinating.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
we know so little. Like,
we really
Yeah.
do. We have a few more questions, but people are starting to bow out of chat and stuff. So I want to make sure I say this before the end of the show. Next week, my show is going to be on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have kind of an exclusive with Ken Boggle. We talk about some private stuff in his new show on VidiSpace. But it's Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central instead of Friday, because both our shows are at Friday at 8 p.m. So we decided to do it. It's pre-recorded. It's a very sentimental, very touching episode. I just wanted to get that out there before people started leaving the chat.
All right.
So the next question. And this one, we could do a whole show on this. I haven't even asked you guys a question yet, and the three of us could do a whole show on this. Let me tell you.
oh boy.
Let me tell you, if I ever need a substitute co-host besides the couple that I already have, you guys are going to be the ones I call.
Oh, hell
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. I'd be happy to.
What are your views on shadow people? And that's how the question was asked.
Huh.
Well, all right. So shadow people. So I feel like in most cases, shadow people are, negative entities. I feel like they are more so attracted to the energy of others more so than, they're like a ghost that haunts a place. I don't know what their purpose is or anything like that. There's a lot of interesting theories, like, are they Grim Reaper type of figures, or like, there's the Hat Man, which is like a shadow entity. There's different ones. And I think from what I understand about shadow people is that there's usually a reason that the person is seeing them. Either that the shadow person is observing that person for some reason, or like it could be that, in terms of negative energy, your negative energy is attracting negative beings that feed off of that. Like, there's a theory like energy frequencies feed them, and they need certain energy frequencies, so they'll hang around people who are typically mentally distressed in some way, is a lot of the stories that I've read. But honestly, I feel like we don't really know enough for me to feel like I'm making an educated guess here. But
yeah, but you're willing to talk about it and willing to put your ideas out there. And by you saying, by what you just said, you were also willing to learn and change your mind. So there's no wrong answer when you go into it with that opinion or that attitude.
And I love when someone presents me with a fact that makes me change my mind, because it means that I've learned something. So
yeah, me too. Amen. Yeah. Yep. I change my mind all the time. So.
Yep.
Kelly, do you have a view on shadow people?
I don't know very much about them, but from what I've read, I don't believe that they are spirits. I almost wonder, because it's scientifically proven that there are other realities or other dimensions. I almost wonder if I almost wonder if they're interdimensional, if they've somehow managed to like fleetingly cross into our, dimension, because there's something so other about them. They don't feel human, but they don't feel dead. It's I'd love to learn more about them, because they're both frightening and fascinating, because they're such an unknown.
I think that could be different types or different kinds too.
Yeah,
like ghosts. Like I don't think you can sum it up with one sentence on any of it.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. 2 more questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We saved this one for last. Sorry, I'm taking notes. But what was your favorite activity or experience of the night at Wilson Castle? Favorite, top.
Favorite.
That's tough because honestly, the whole night was just really. It was just it was like a peak of awesomeness that just never faltered.
And it should
until
not.
we
Your
left.
first investigation should not be that easy.
I know.
We lucked out.
We got really lucky. I think my favorite part was when we were outside and we kept hearing those whistles out in the woods.
Yeah,
what was that?
Was that my first interaction with Daryl?
Yeah.
And we actually, we were like, when we came home, we were actually looking up different bird calls to see if we could find something. We found nothing.
A bird.
Yeah,
No.
I looked up the call of a bunch of nocturnal animals and birds. I couldn't find anything, and I talked to Matt from PBR about it. And
Matt with Dale, who's in the house. He's in chat.
Yep, and he has a pretty good knowledge of local wildlife, and he said
pretty good
that
knowledge of almost everything.
yeah, that's true. And he said that it didn't sound like anything.
No, it was either
that
a person or a Daryl. And for anybody that doesn't understand what a Daryl is, I mean Bigfoot.
His name is really Daryl.
Yeah.
Evidently.
No, it was very odd.
It was very odd.
It was. All right, ready?
What was Kelly's
wait a
favorite
minute.
part?
No, I'm
sorry.
sorry. No, I forgot to ask you. You both got to answer this. Matt, you're smart. You know that. Shut up. I forgot to play my game.
Oh boy.
All right. No, it's really easy. I give you two options, and you pick whichever one is the right answer for you. It's like 5 or 6 questions, and then we have one question after that, and then we'll close up.
Okay.
All right. It's called This or That, so just pick whichever out of the two works. Whatever you would lean towards most. It doesn't have to be 100%, but... Ready?
I guess so.
They are so scared. This is awesome. Investigator or hunter?
Investigator.
Hunter.
Data or evidence?
Data. And the reason I'm going to say data is because evidence implies that it's proving something. Data can just be whatever.
Info. It's information.
Information, yes.
I'm inclined to agree with the data thing as well.
All right. Negative provoking or no way?
No way.
No way.
Residential properties or commercial?
Ooh.
Probably commercial.
Residential.
Orb or just dust?
Dust.
Sorry, people.
Nope. Digital.
I get so many inbox pictures of.
No, I'm the same way. They know that. Trust me. They like me. Trust me. They know not to send me their pictures.
I know.
Digital recorder or video?
Digital.
Do you mean when you say digital recorder? Do you mean like a voice recorder or a digital
audio?
Video probably.
All right, last question of this one. Demon or just an asshole ghost?
It depends. I think a lot of the time, like probably 90% of the time, when people think it's a demon, it's probably just an asshole ghost. I do think that demons, they're probably out there.
They're slim.
Yes, I'd imagine so.
They're probably rare.
Yeah. That's what I think. So, all right. So, the last question of the night is one that Darren came up with.
Oh, boy.
And we ask it on every PBR show, I think. And I think other networks ask it now, too. Darren can correct me if I'm wrong. And my show is marked explicit, so feel free to answer this any way you want.
Oh, Jesus.
We've had some famous people say some really weird things.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I hope so.
What is the one object in the whole world you would never want to be haunted?
Okay. Probably my car.
That's a popular answer.
Yeah. I feel like a car that felt like it could drive me into a tree and kill me wouldn't be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that could, like, physically harm me. And the car was the first thing that came to mind because it's like you're going to be driving fast in it, so.
Yeah.
The shower.
Right.
Because of how freaking vulnerable you are when you're in there.
That's true.
It's always the worst moment in the horror movie when they're in the bathroom. you know something's gonna fucking go down.
It just creeps me out thinking something touching you in the shower. Like,
yes,
oh my
or
God.
watching you.
No. Oh.
Michelle
from Paranormal. I always have to tell people this. Michelle from Paranormal State.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pronounce her last name. Forgive me. So Blanche, whatever her last name is, said butt plug.
Oh my God.
Butt plug.
Yeah.
I can see how that would go wrong.
Okay, but like that implies some things. Okay.
Then she corrected herself. She did change it, but you know the way
but
we
it was
word
too
it,
late. We already knew.
Yeah,
funny.
the way we word it don't help because we're like, yeah, it's marked explicit, so. Yeah,
There's a lot of lead up
Matt
to that
spelled
question.
out her last name, and I still can't say it.
Bellinger, I think.
Thank you. I love her. I saw her in Oxygen one day as a vampire expert, so I was like excited.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, is that show still on? I thought they stopped making that show. Okay.
It's no, it's not still on.
Okay. All right, that's a bummer. I liked that one because they had. I like how they had people of different beliefs. Like there was the pagan girl, and then the main guy was like kind of Catholic and stuff like that. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
It was a good show. I liked it too.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to throw out any public social media that you have?
Yeah, sure. So for me, my name is Brian. Again, I run the website ghostquest.net. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on facebook.com/ghostquest.net, twitter.com/ghostquest_USA. I'm on instagram.com/ghostquest, the word dot and the word net. So like spell it all out.
D-O-T. He really means spell it out. D-O-T.
Yep. Ghost Quest, D-O-T-N-E-T. Yep. So, and then I have a Reddit that I like to have people, you guys, if you're a content creator, share your podcast, share your videos, your stories, ask questions. I also have a YouTube. The YouTube channel is Ghost Quest USA. And I'm on Pinterest, Ghost Quest as well. I post a lot of pictures of the locations I write about. So feel free to reach out to me on there. Send me a message, say hi.
Nice. I didn't know you were on YouTube and Pinterest. Those are the only two places I didn't know. So.
Okay, I'll send you a link later on.
Yeah, I'll do both because I'm on both with like 4 accounts, nice. I think.
Okay, all right. Cool. Yeah, I only have one as of now.
Kelly, you don't have public.
No, I mean, I don't really, this isn't what this isn't what I do for my living, unfortunately. But I mean, if you feel the need to come to me for answers, you're probably beyond help anyway.
If you need to get a hold of Kelly, contact Brian. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I don't want to give out your private
That's all good.
Facebook. But I wanted you on here because I loved you. I fell in love with you.
Oh, well, thank you for it. I've had a lot of
competition
fun.
now. What is this?
Oh,
right?
You can share. No, I mean, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for inviting me along. I'm nowhere. I'm not a professional in this at all, but I do love the paranormal.
None of us are, Kelly. None of us are professionals. And if you ever hear somebody say they are a professional ghost hunter, professional paranormal investigator, run away.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
No,
There's
nobody
no
knows
such
the
thing.
answers.
I know.
I'm always skeptical
Yeah.
of people who claim to know the answers. So,
Yep. They're usually full of shit.
If I miss anybody in chat, Janelle, Janelle Marie is in chat tonight. Sorry I missed you earlier. Janelle was on us with on the investigation.
yep, Danielle was in the investigation.
Yep.
So was Matt.
Yeah, Matt was saying it was great having you guys and Janelle at Wilson. It was. I wish we could all go back.
Yeah, thank you guys for inviting us. It was like, that was the coolest experience of my summer and probably my whole year, actually.
Well, there's more. We're going to plan what we were talking about in the private chat. We'll plan that.
Yep.
We'll plan it, though.
Definitely.
I don't want to say it on air, but...
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So, like I said, next week... my show is on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern with the one and only, the heavenly, beautiful Ken Boggle. I love this man. I really do. If he was straight, I would so be like trying to hook up with him. But I love him to death. I really do. He's a beautiful soul, and I know I always say that. And it sounds like I'm kissing his ass, but he's not listening to the show right now because he's busy with his own show. He is one of the most beautiful souls you'll ever meet, and this is a very private conversation, very intimate conversation, I guess is a better way to put it. So listen in, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I hope everybody has a great week, and thank you for tuning in to Season 3. Brian, Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank
you guys for thank you for having us on, and thank you guys for listening.
Oh, I'm gonna have you guys back for sure.
Oh,
yeah, definitely, anytime.
All right, good night, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.